Hey everyone, Chris Lambert here, co-host of the Watching the Throne podcast, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the season 16 premiere of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, as it featured a lot of Kanye, and it seems like the season itself is going to feature a ton of Kanye, which means your boy is going to be watching every episode in order to do some recaps for you, you know? And with this first recap, I'm still trying to figure out how this is going to work, so bear with me. I'm not going to be using any video footage, at least at the moment, just because I don't know how E is going to respond to that, and I'd like to just kind of work through the first episode and see how we go from here. But I'm going to be providing context on some of the content that we saw through the episode and how it related to what we were hearing at the time, right? To replace the missing video segments. And real fast before we get going, some of you may be wondering how the wedding went over this weekend. Very well. You can see I now have a ring on my finger. So she said, yes, I do. Whatever. We're married. It's going to be great. Her health insurance is much better than mine. So that's going to be terrific. So getting into this episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, it starts with this moment right here, which for the first time ever, Kanye gave a confessional. Shout out to Team Kanye Daily, as they have a lot of information I'm going to be using as examples here. And these are some photos from that first confessional. And you may have seen the clip of it. Kanye talks about how the only reason I'm doing this is because of The Incredibles. The wife got a big butt, and I just see us becoming more like The Incredibles. And just real fast, oh no, this video doesn't have Kim's reaction. There's a moment where she's looking at him when he's speaking that's kind of that look right there, where it's like, okay, what are you saying and why are you saying it? The arc of the episode as a whole, and I think people are aware at this point that Keeping Up with the Kardashians, they edit cleverly to give each episode more drama, more heft, to have there be a change in charge from the start of the episode to the end of the episode, even if that's really superficial. So the story for Kim and Kanye was that for the first half of the episode, they're just bickering about everything. And then in the second half of the episode, they kind of find their common ground and are then on the same page, right? So it just starts off in a very dramatic place between them, where it ramps up the pettiness a little bit, or the annoyances a little bit, before they're just all lovey-dovey how we see them in a lot of photos. So that's the quickest and most general recap. But for the specifics, let's get into it. So you start with Kanye making the reference to The Incredibles. We know he loves Pixar movies. And then there's a brief segment where he talks about they announced that they're having baby number 4, a son being on the way. And in another confessional like this, Kim mentions how she's excited that the energy is going to be balanced, because currently they have the 2 daughters and Saint. And Kim says something about Saint being her favorite person in the world, or one of her favorite people in the world. And Kanye says that he doesn't want to pick favorites, right? Or that he doesn't think people should use the word favorite and pick favorites. And Kim's like, well, it's okay. You know, I was my mom's favorite for 10 years. Now it's Kylie. It's just a thing that happens. It's realistic. And Kanye's like, no. Which was just a moment to show like the disconnect or the tension between them, the annoyance between them. But it was funny. And then they're in Chicago for a lot of this episode, Kanye and Kim are. And Kim talks about how Kanye's there for working on tech, architecture, and the Yeezy office, specifically being in Chicago. And then they mention Rhymefest. So one of the big things is that they have North with them, and they want to show North Chicago and some of the places where Kanye spent time as a child himself, and to show North specifically the house that Kanye grew up in. But in order to do this, they have to talk with Rhymefest. Did I say Rhyme Style earlier? They have to talk to Rhymefest. And one of the things with Rhymefest is that there had been a huge spat between him, Kanye, and Rhymefest and Kim. And that had happened in, when was this? May, right before Ye had dropped. And some of the tension is because Rhymefest had become in charge of Donda's House, which was a foundation charity that Kanye had started after his mom had passed. But when Kanye was so busy with everything and having some financial troubles, Kim said that he gave ownership of the foundation to Rhymefest. But because he had purchased the house through the foundation, that meant that Kanye no longer had any legal ownership over his childhood home, even though he had technically purchased it. So he would have to get the keys from Rhymefest if they wanted to go in it and show North what was inside. And Kim, for a lot of this, is just saying, like, fuck Rhymefest. And Kanye's like, we got love. And Kim's just saying, no, like, he was rude to you. I'm defensive of you. I'm protective of you. He was then rude to me. Like, no. And Kanye tries to explain that one of the people that works for him or with him was rude to Rhymefest when he had Rhyme out to work on the album. And that's why Rhyme was just angry. Kim's like, that's bullshit. Like, don't be so gullible. Don't be so nice. Like, if somebody I'm working with, if their assistant's mean to me, I'm not trying to bury that person or talk shit about them in a public forum. I'm going to call them and be like, hey, your person was really mean. What's up with that? Which makes sense, right? Not Rhyme then going onto Twitter and being like, I'm asking Drake to help the part of Chicago Kanye has abandoned. Please contact Donda's House. Like, especially as this was right after Daytona had dropped and the whole Pusha T Drake beef was escalating and Drake had sent shots out at Kanye. And here Rhymefest is essentially siding with Drake and calling Kanye a bit of a deadbeat. And Kim just wasn't having any of it. Drake, when good music sends the money they owe you, will you please help us rebuild Kanye's mother's house for the youth of Chicago? I spoke to Kanye about it. His response was, fuck the youth of Chicago. And then Kim said, you haven't been right since you got kicked out of the studio in Hawaii wearing fake Yeezys. Rhymefest, you're over-leveraging Kanye's name and asking Kanye to donate money to you, so stop with your fake community politics and lies. Truth is, you haven't been able to sustain the foundation. I saw you at our studio a few weeks ago, so why did you bring this up then? You were trying to get Kanye to listen to your subpar beats. You have the audacity to use Kanye's mom's name to try to shed a negative light on Kanye? Ooh. You didn't say this when Kanye paid you up front, then you disappeared during Pablo. Oh, fuck, I spelled leveraging wrong. Typing while pissed will do this to you. Oh my God, you better believe I will make it my mission to take Donda's house from you and let my children run it the way it should be run. Oh, and lastly, your flight canceled to Wyoming. You thought you were really worthy to be on this album. Sorry to all of my followers for flooding my timeline. I know you have no idea who Rhymefest is. So she really went hard. And, Rhyme wasn't that happy. He wrote this long response that tried to take, like, the martyred ground in everything. And, yeah, they eventually changed the name from Donda's House to Art of Culture, I guess. Yeah, so things got pretty ugly between them. So we're seeing the aftermath of this a few months later. I'm pretty sure this is after June, sometime in August or September. I actually should have looked that up before making this video. But so you have that part of the discussion start. I took notes on this. And then you see that Kanye and Kim are with North at the Sugar Factory. And this is a little bit confusing. So June 15th, Kanye and Kim took North to the Sugar Factory, but it was in New York City. So I don't think that this is where we're at in the timeline of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Then there was another one here. On Thursday night, Northwest was treated to a candy shopping spree of epic proportions with mom and dad at Sugar Factory Chicago River North. So this was from when? September 14th, 2018. So it's a few months after the initial Rhymefest beef happened. This is when Kanye was spending some time in Chicago and bouncing around Detroit and Miami and all of that, leading up to what we thought was going to be the release of Yandhi. I miss you, Yandhi. One day, someday. So we see them all at the sugar factory, and then we see them back in the car, and Kim says that Rhymefest isn't going to bully her. I wrote down bully me fight. Oh yeah, they had a fight about bully me. Okay. So Kim says something about Rhymefest isn't going to bully me, and Kanye's like, what, you think I'm going to let him bully me? Is that what you're saying? And they get into this back and forth. And Kim's trying to say something about, like, being rational. And Kanye stops her and is like, I'm not rational. I'm spiritual. And you see Kim just be like, ugh. And then Kanye says, I'm on that Buddha, that Yandhi, which I think is the first mention of Yandhi on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. So it's kind of cool to just hear the name of the album come up. And I'm hoping over the upcoming episodes, we're going to get more into what happened with the album and how Kanye was feeling. But he's definitely on that Buddha and Yandhi in this episode, just kind of being at peace with everything and wanting to show love. And Kim's just like, fuck that, I want war. Which I like the mixture of energies. And then Kanye says to her, when she's talking about what Rhyme did to Kanye and what friends have done with him, how they take advantage, how they talk shit, Kanye uses the line, with love, they will grow. Which, I mean, that's what he was trying to do in 2018, just show some love to people and hope that there could be this transcendence that occurs. But people were not on board with that. Not at all, were they? So then we see them at the Regal Theater in Chicago. And the Regal Theater's come up a few times. This first mention of it was September 26th. The Chicago Sun-Times did an article, Kanye West to bankroll Regal Theater repairs. Owner says, but clock is ticking. There was just another article at the end of February that was updating that this was continuing to move along. So we see them at the theater and Kanye talking with the owner about everything with it and what they could do with it. And Kanye and Kim are more on the same page at this point during the theater experience. And then we see Kim on a phone call with her mom or doing a confessional where she talks about being annoyed by how forgiving Kanye is because people take advantage of it, and that because she knows he doesn't have anybody there to take care of him and protect him, she's the one that's like constantly wanting to fight for him and shield him. But it stresses her out because she's always like head on a swivel, like, who's talking shit about Kanye? Are you talking shit about Kanye? Going from that then to also her career and being a mom, it just leaves her a bit just afraid at times. But Kris Jenner gives her some advice on it and where he's coming from and everything. And this was kind of the midpoint of the episode. And of course, given the arc that we're seeing, we start with them bicker, and you'd expect there'd be a point where they come together. So in another car ride, Kim mentions where she's coming from with trying to protect him and wanting to shield him, and that it's not just that she hates Rhymefest, right? It's that she wants to shield him, and Kanye tells her how much he appreciates that and knows where she's coming from and like loves her. And after that, they're fine. The rest of the episode, they're kind of on the same page and everything is good. So you can really see that change in charge from the first half to the second half, with this being the tipping point in the middle. What else do we got? We then get in the confessional, Kanye saying, who's your favorite husband? And Kim kind of is like, you. And then we also have this moment where, right here? Nope. That wasn't it. There's the, who's your favorite husband? And then this moment where Kim starts to say what she likes best about Kanye. And she says that he's a free thinker, and that's what she loves. And Kanye makes a joke about the fact that, he thought she'd say that he has a huge dick, which very Kanye, right? So they're joking, they're getting along, and then there's a bit of a preview, like before the commercial break, they show Rhymefest come into the room, and it's like Kim and Kanye are finally confronting Rhymefest. Oh my god. And they show Rhyme sit down and say some shit about like Kanye was part of a village and he abandoned the village, and that Kim's face is like, and Kanye's like, so you're just ready for Rhymefest to be evil when it comes back. But when he comes in and sits down, he's like very friendly to both of them. And Kim starts giving her perspective on everything, and Rhyme starts giving his perspective on things. And with the context of his village line, it's way less like condemning than what it seemed without the context. And Kim's like, I get where you're coming from and everything. And Kanye says something. So Rhyme's main problem is that when he was at the studio with Kanye, it was about money, right? Rhyme didn't want money, but Kanye had asked him what he wanted for helping on the album and being part of things. And Rhyme just said, could you tweet out what we're doing at Donda's house and some of the stuff and just shine some light on it? And then Kanye wasn't doing it, and Rhyme kept trying to reach out to him about it and couldn't get a hold of him. So what he did was just trying to get Kanye's attention, more so than wanting to extort Kanye or get money from him. It was just like, hey, you said you'd do this, and now I can't even get a hold of you. Just look at me, please. Kind of a child acting out. And Kanye has this line where he's like, even if I said I would, I was going through some shit. It's just like, yeah, you gotta look at me as a human being too, right? That's kind of what he's saying. That I may have said something, but you could see I'm going through some shit. So asking me to do something for you at that time, is that really what friends do? And Rhyme says something like, well, yeah, and it was like it was all negative or something. And Kanye kind of double takes and was like, yeah, that's what going through some shit is. Like, that's why I described it that way. Like, it's negative. Going through some shit is negative. Of course it was all negative. So they kind of end up landing on the same page with everything. Rhyme says that he's really into crystals, and Kim says that she is too, and Rhyme gifts her a crystal that's for calm and compassion and friendship and these things. And she's excited about that, gives it to Kanye to look at. And Rhyme then says to Kim, because you love him, I love you. And they end on this better page than where they started. And that's kind of where everything leaves off with them. I know that in the media, I don't think there's been an update regarding Rhyme and Kanye since. So this is kind of the most recent thing I can point to, which is at least from September of 2018. But insofar as 2019 or after this moment, I don't think we've heard any more about Kanye saying anything about what Rhyme's working on now or what Donda House became or where all of that's at. So that might be something that we hear more about more into 2019. But at least at this point, we know that Kanye, Kim, and Rhyme got together and buried the hatchet more than I think what we've heard from anywhere else. So at least that's nice. We want positive vibes. We want positive energy in this world. We don't want to be carrying around this tension with somebody else. And not just like, I'm not saying that about Kanye specifically, but all of us, right? It's better to have that shit out of our system and be in a good place than either carrying around that anger or carrying around the fear that somebody else is angry with you. So it was an entertaining episode, and it was cool to see Kanye on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. It's going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds as the season plays out and we start getting into more of, this was September, heading into the end of September. We're about to see Kanye on Saturday Night Live, I'm pretty sure, and then Kanye at the White House. And then everything in the time period that we thought Yandi was going to drop. Africa. Oh my God, there's so many things that they could show season 16 is going to be very cool. So, again, I'm going to be trying to improve these as we go along. So if you have any recommendations about how to make them, I don't know, better, please leave a comment and I'll see what I am capable of doing. And we'll go from there. Otherwise, really appreciate you taking the time to watch. Not otherwise, but just either way, I appreciate you taking the time to watch. And if you have any requests for content or episodes, also leave a comment for that. And if you want to support the channel, the easiest way is just liking and subscribing, as that tells YouTube that this is like content that people are enjoying, and then they show it to more people, and then we get more subscribers and we get more money, which is good. We just actually had our first $100 month in March, so that was really exciting. So thank you so much for the continued support. It's cool. It's exciting. So until the next time, stay wavy, keep it loopy, and we'll talk soon. See ya.